So here we are, the sort of second official instalment of Clodmas. In true retro Claude style. Didn't really sleep very well last night and ended up waking up at 11 a.m. That was unexpected, which means I've kind of lost my ideal filming window. The light is already going, there's background noise, the pipes are gurgling. It's freezing cold in here, so I've had to put my electric heater on, which means that it will constantly tick in the background right on cue. Perfect. Sorry about that. But here we are. This is what we're going to have to deal with this December, team. Do of course have a cup of tea. I'm wearing my 1950s knitted jacket, which was a very unusual construction. I talk about it in this video here. And then I've got on underneath that my Sisterhood of the Travelling pattern dress, which unfortunately is a bit small for me now, so I might have to be reworking this one at some point. Oh well. But the reason we are sat here in front of the mysterious door is because I wanted to introduce to you the project that I'm hoping to work on throughout December. And this is something I've been wanting to make since before I started Retro Claude as a YouTube channel. And I bought the pattern over 3 years ago. I bought the fabric at the beginning of 2020. It's been one of the things I've been wanting to tackle for a long time. But because it's going to be quite an involved project, it sort of requires me to be in good health, and it just hasn't lined up at the minute. And so I'm practicing what I preach, and I'm sort of letting go of my expectations, and we're going to work on it in very small chunks over the month of December. So what is this mysterious project, I hear you ask? Well, it's a 1940s suit, sort of suit, like two-piece dress. This is the pattern. Look at that bad boy. So this is an advanced pattern. I've never worked with an advanced pattern before, mostly because they're quite difficult to get hold of because they're an American brand and they didn't really export to the UK. But I bought this one online from a seller, I think on Etsy or eBay. I can't remember now. It's so long ago and I didn't keep records of that sort of thing at this moment in time. It's size 18, so it's bust 36, hip 39, which isn't quite my measurements. And with it being such a sort of tailored, well, sort of semi-tailored look, I knew it was going to involve a toile, basically, and I may need to alter the pattern to fit. So what I'm aiming to do today is trace off this pattern, take measurements and see where I need to do alterations. I've probably only got about an hour and a half's worth of light left. It's currently 2 o'clock, so I don't know how far I'll get with this. But I have brought my paper, got my pattern. Oh, I've got my fabric to show you. It's more burgundy. Oh, it's coming up quite burgundy on the camera. But I love this sort of like red brown. You know, you've seen everything I make. So this is a real wool crepe, 100% wool crepe. And I had a local fabric store that closed down during the pandemic. And the week that lockdown was announced because I don't know if you remember or if you were paying attention to the UK during that period, our politicians were very slow to act. And there was sort of a window of time where we all knew what was coming. And we were like, we should be in lockdown by now, and it wasn't officially announced. And my local fabric store announced like a lockdown's probably coming, stock up sale. So they offered sort of a discount, the idea being hoping they would get enough sales to get them to last through the pandemic. Didn't work out like that, unfortunately. It did close down, which is a real shame. I went in because I wanted to support them, and they had this beautiful 100% wool crepe. It was quite expensive. I did get the discount, and I'm kind of glad that I bought it then because this shop and all their stock has gone. But it sat in a box, and because it's one of the things that has added to my procrastination on this project a little bit is because this is special fabric. It's so difficult to get 100% wool crepe in anything like an appropriate vintage weight. So to be able to pick it up in the middle of nowhere where I live was such a coincidence. And the fact that it's in like my favourite colour and a colour I love to wear. It's almost purple. It's coming up quite brown, but it is almost purple. Oh, it's just so nice. Yeah, it's going to be a special project. So it's one of those things, I was feeling the pressure a little bit to do this fabric and this pattern justice. Every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, or whatever they say. First of all, I need to take some measurements, and I need to compare my measurements to this pattern and see what we're working with, basically. First of all, let's update the whiteboard, because several of you have spotted this in the back of projects, and I'm not really holding myself accountable to this, but this one I am. So first of all, this was a Halloween project, which didn't happen. So let's put that back over there. Then let's rub that one out and put that one over here. I hope you can hear me. The microphone is over here because I don't want to keep brushing it. But Tape measure, centimetres. So you can see, because this dress is too small, that the waist is right up here. My natural waist is down here. It was quite short in the torso anyway, but never mind. This one's always tricky. One part of the reason I'm measuring over my dress and not taking it off, I mean, I could do, but I do want this to be something that has a little bit of positive ease, this suit, so that I can wear something underneath it. You know, it's going to be quite a wintry outfit, which means I'm probably going to be cold, which means I'm probably going to be wearing some sort of top underneath it, t-shirt, vest, something or other. So yeah, just that little bit of more positive ease. Plus, it's always better to err on the side of caution and make things too big than make them too small. I don't think I've actually ever opened this pattern to have a look at it. Maybe when I first bought it, just to check it was all there. We've got vintage corroded sellotape, paper conservators everywhere, avert your eyes. Okay, so it is all there, that's good. Where is the size guide? Of course, the thing about working with vintage patterns is everything's in inches, and I am a little bit of a broken record about working with the metric system, but I use centimetres. Yep, 1/2 inch allowed for all seams. 2-inch hem allowed. Okay, so 18. Bust 36. Width across back 14.5. I didn't measure that on myself because that's difficult. Waist 30. Interesting, that's quite a large waist measurement at this time for a 36-inch bust. Hip 39, 7 inches below natural waist. So I'm 36.5 bust according to my measurements. Spot on for the waist. 41. So the hips are probably going to be the issue, and the torso length. So in case you don't know what I'm doing, I did make a video about working with vintage patterns. So I'm comparing my measurements to not just the size guide, but the actual tissue pieces. So that's a very deep armhole. I did think, however, when I looked at the pattern illustration, you see here? It is almost a bat wing, with the long sleeve version especially. That's a very deep armhole. Now, whether I want that or not is another question. 1/2 inch is how many mil? 1.3, okay. So it looks like my bust apex is probably going to hit in the right place. So it's probably going to be a bit long in the torso, because mine is here and their waist is about 3 centimetres lower. That's on the front, and what about the back? Yeah, and on the back it's about 4 centimetres too long. So this is my dilemma. Where do I take out the length? Should I take it out in this section or this section? Because that's a very low armhole. And that's a design feature. But in terms of the width, 104.6, my bust is 93. So that seems like quite a lot of positive ease. Okay, interesting. Because that's the thing, of course. I know I'm making a toile, so I would rather make alterations in a toile, particularly to things like bust. I mean length, I can probably do that in the paper pattern. But if I'm going to be changing how it fits across the bust, I would rather do that in fabric than in paper. I think we just trace those off as they are and take out just a touch of length, and then the bits that are really going to matter are the skirt pieces. 45.5, my waist was 76. So as I said, quite a lot of positive ease. However, the hips, I would just fit in my hips with the ease. So where's my pattern master? So the plan is I'm going to leave the waist as it is for now with the wearable ease in. It's probably going to be too big, but that's okay. But I am going to flare out the hip a bit more. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around my pattern, make my few adjustments. I'm probably just going to take the length out at the hem, but keep the width. And I'm doing this in pencil, so sorry you won't be able to see it, but I just cannot bring myself to put a Sharpie or anything near this vintage pattern. Mark all the balance marks, all the notches. So I'm just tracing around the original line, and then I'll add my own adjustment. So now we should be done with that, and I can fold it up nicely, keep it safely out of the way. So first things first, straight of grain. I'm probably just going to take 5 centimeters off the bottom. So the difference in width is marginal, but it would just mean I'll have to re-angle my side seams. And I'll probably have to true them up as well, because they might end up being slightly different lengths to the other pieces now. What else was I going to do? Oh yes, we're going to extend it at the hip. So I know from experience from making for my body that I have lots of hip spring, which means I come out in a very dramatic curve from the waist when you look at me straight on. In my case, what I think is best for me is to add width at the side seam. I might be proven wrong when I make a toile, but that's what I'm going for today. So I want 3.5 more centimeters. Oh, that's quite a lot. Okay. That is very dramatic from there to there. So this is the line of the original pattern, and this is the line of my new hip curve. Dramatic, eh? So now I have to decide what to do with the rest of this line. Do I flare my skirt a little more to accommodate, you know, to keep the balance and the proportion, or do I just smooth this line out? Let's smooth it out for now, because there's flare on the other side as well. One piece altered, several more to go. So I'm going to cut this out and carry on doing this with the other pieces, and I'll show you when I'm done, basically, because this is going to get boring really quickly. So I've been working for about an hour, and I can just feel I've gone. My brain's gone. I just feel really groggy and sleepy, and the reality is I'm not going to be able to do any more today. Look, I'm struggling to speak, so I'm just going to abandon this. In the place it is, I'm going to write myself as detailed notes as I can manage about where I am and what I wanted to do today, and then when I come back to this, hopefully I'll be able to pick it up without too much difficulty. That's the thing. I often find I have to leave myself notes, because when I come back to it, I'm like, what were you doing? Like, what is happening here? Thankfully, recording it often helps as well. I've managed to get the second skirt piece altered, and I've traced out the back, but I haven't altered it yet. So that's what I need to write down. I also take great care when labeling my patterns, so I know exactly what they are, what I've done to them. I've also included the date and version 1, so that particularly if I'm doing something where I'm making several toiles or more than one toile, I know, oh, okay, this was the original one. And then this was the second round of pattern alterations. This was the third round of pattern alterations, which can happen when you do toiles like this. I need to tidy up. That's the thing. I always have to leave energy to tidy up and leave this in a place where I can pick it up again tomorrow or the day after or whenever. I might leave you running as I sort of leave notes and things so you can see what I do.